So apparently you can dish it out, but you can't take it in, huh? Apparently you're fine telling women that they are not beautiful and no amount of authoritarian tolerance can change this. And then you're gonna cry when people roast you for such a comically stupid take. Now you might know, at this point, who Jordan Peterson is. He is famous for presenting himself as a smart person to very dumb people. Famous for misrepresenting the Canadian C-16 bill. And he also really staked out his career in voicing Kermit the Frog. Recently, however, Jordan Peterson admitted that he's going to have to quit Twitter for a little while. Now, I don't know if he actually ended up quitting Twitter. It would have been nice if he did. But a couple days ago now, Jordan Peterson quits Twitter over insults after criticizing a woman's body. So basically what he said was generally about this person here. You can see her here. This is the woman in question. She took a picture, or she was featured in the front of some kind of a magazine, as being a model who doesn't quite fit the usual standards that we apply to models, especially not to female models. Now, there's obviously a huge problem with the expectations that are placed on women in general to look a certain way, but if you're actually getting into modeling, holy shit. I would be willing to bet that like half of those people are probably anorexic or have severe body issues. They might be really uncomfortable with their body. This idea that you have to be so goddamn skinny it's really sad, and it's really destructive because it basically teaches other girls that you have to look a certain way to be accepted or to be perceived as being pretty. And it's also just, it really encourages unhealthy behavior as well. But this is the woman in question. And let's see. I'm not going to lie. Like, she's pretty cute. And she's also featured on this magazine, looks pretty cute. She's definitely a little bit heavier than you would expect. But I mean, come on. You're not featuring a woman who's like 3,000 pounds here, okay? She looks like a pretty average woman who maybe is just like slightly, quote unquote, overweight. But again, what does it mean to be overweight? People have different physical makeups. And you know what? If you have a physical makeup where you're a little bit, quote unquote, overweight, but if you are healthy, and if you are eating healthy, and if you don't have any underlying conditions, then what's wrong with being a little bit bigger? Nothing. Nothing is wrong with that at all. The only thing that is wrong with it is the way that society has decided that women should look. So I think she's really pretty. She's a very cute girl, featured on the front of this magazine. But Jordan Peterson had to weigh in. His big psychology big brain had to drop by and let us know that she is not beautiful. I believe the quote was, "Sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change this." So it's authoritarian to accept women who are a little bit bigger? That's the authoritarian? Man, okay. Well, you've heard of Stalin. You've heard of Hitler. And then next up in line, we have a magazine saying that women who are slightly larger than what we generally expect of models is pretty. Holy shit. Mao has come back from the dead. He took this picture and printed it on the front of this magazine. So Jordan Peterson, being the deranged chuckle fuck that he is, claimed that finding this person pretty is authoritarian. I don't know how you come to that conclusion, but to quote Vosh himself, Jordan Peterson really came across in that tweet as if he was being a parody of himself. Authoritarian tolerance is never going to change this. It's not going to happen, okay? Never. And everybody roasted him so hard for this dipshit take, rightfully so, that he started crying and then left Twitter. I don't know if he actually cried. He probably did. But it's just really quite pathetic. He announced he plans on leaving Twitter while complaining about the endless flood of insults he receives on the platform. Oh no. Oh, can we play a little symphony on the world's smallest violin for Jordan PP? Oh. So apparently you can dish it out, but you can't take it in, huh? Apparently you're fine telling women that they are not beautiful and no amount of authoritarian tolerance can change this. And then you're going to cry when people roast you for such a comically stupid take? Aw, I'm so sorry, man. That's tough, man, you know? Maybe go talk to your fucking therapist again. Because I know it can be really sad when you receive backlash for a stupid fuck take that you give on Twitter. Especially when your quote-unquote take was just insulting somebody, calling them ugly, and then saying if you find her attractive, you're an authoritarian. I'm sorry, pal. I know that's tough, okay? Hopefully you can cry about it a little later when you're giving your speech about the psychology of the demented wokes who hate God and want nothing more than to see all of Western civilization crumble because a slightly thick woman on magazine who also happens to be quite cute. The endless flood of vicious insults is really not something that can be experienced anywhere else. I like to follow the people I know, but I think the incentive structure of the platform makes it intrinsically and dangerously insane. Ah, yes. You're certainly not partaking in that type of behavior when you call people ugly for no reason at all. Okay. Gotcha. That's Jordan PP leaving Twitter. I'm trying to remember like how he talks. What was that one clip that we saw? Now listen, I think some people actually are wrong in making fun of Jordan Peterson for crying. Because men crying is not something that should be mocked. And I've been very firm on this position. However, we also need to talk about why you're crying. I don't think the fact that Jordan Peterson is crying is what should be made fun of. I think it's the fact that he is crying over an issue like Antifa.
I wanted to ask you about based on your knowledge, your background, your clinical experience, what is the psychology of this mob violence? When I see it, I don't even recognize some of these. They seem animalistic, is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals. They're worse than animals because animals, they just kill to eat, you know. Human beings, they have a twist in them that makes them far worse than animals when they really get going. Well,
wait, are you talking about Antifa?
Clinical experience. What is the psychology of this mob violence? When I see it,
has Antifa ever actually killed anybody? I know that Andy No is still like coping from the time that he got a milkshake thrown at him from like 4 years ago or something. But has Antifa actually ever killed anybody? Obviously, mob violence is fucking terrible and bad and should be condemned. But I don't know if Antifa's ever killed anybody.
I don't even recognize some of these. They seem animalistic, is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals. They're worse than animals because animals, they just kill to eat, you know. Human beings, they have a twist in them that makes them far worse than animals when they really get going. Well, I think you really want to know what I think? I think it's revenge against God for the crime of being.
Even Andy No is like, look at his face. He's like, that's not the answer I expected. But yeah, I can buy into that, you know? Antifa, what are they really all about? They're mad at God for being. If they didn't want to be, why haven't they killed themselves yet? What are you, huh? Wait. I don't even know how to respond to this. God, I'm so mad at you. Because I exist. Fuck you, God. Why am I being? Being what? I mean, Jordan Peterson's being a fucking clown, but I shake my fist at God. The crime of being. Dude, I'm sorry. Jordan Peterson, you're the only person whose being is a crime, all right?
That's really what I think. It's Cain and Abel. It's like, oh, Abel's your guy, eh, God? How about if I take him out in the field and beat him to death? How do you feel about that? All my
What? What? Cain wasn't mad at God for being. He was jealous of Cain. Or no, wait. Cain was the killer, right? Cain wasn't mad at Abel for being. Cain killed Abel because he was jealous that God liked his gift, his Christmas present, better. Cain took Abel out to the fields and beat him with a fucking rock because he didn't like the fact that God preferred the sheep, the nice, bloody, dead, cooked up sheep, as opposed to Cain's freshly grown cucumbers. Okay, yeah, this is, I don't know what to say. Okay.
Sacrifices went unrewarded. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's what it is at the bottom of the hell of things.
Wow. Wow. That is definitely worth shedding a tear over, you know? My goodness. Can we cry? Can I muster up some tears? Even some pretend ones? Antifa. Cain and Abel. The crime of being. God. Jesus. The Trinity. What is he saying right now? This is what I mean with Jordan Peterson and why I find him particularly annoying is he isn't actually very smart. He's educated with some things, and some of his advice is not really bad, like going to clean your room and shit. That's actually good. That's stuff you should do. But when he gets into these like philosophical talks, what is he saying? If you're really dumb, then you sit back and you're like, wow, this man's really profound. Everything he's saying is just profound. I don't know exactly how, but it just feels profound, bruh. Whoa, dude. My mind, my weed brain cannot handle this, bruh. But then when you actually listen to what he's saying, what is he saying? So Antifa is mad at God for being. I don't know how you're coming to that conclusion. Just like Cain was mad and killed Abel, but that had nothing to do with being, and then shed a couple tears? I don't know, like what? Okay, yeah, I feel like I could give a Peterson speech better than this, okay? Let's see, how does his voice sound again?
Well, I think it's
the, he's like, you gotta like move your hands around and say a lot of big words to make yourself sound really smart, you know? You're like, when I see Antifa, I just think of the metaphysical war that they must be fighting on a psychological level against God, who created them and put them on this small rock, and yet they are protesting it. They're shaking their fist at God Almighty, and they don't understand the war that is within. This is a chemical imbalance that they're dealing with on a psychological and cognitive level, and there's so much dissonance here. And not even the sciences can actually account for this level of resentfulness, despair. It fills their hearts. They're just so angry at God. And this is a metaphysical and spiritual war that's happening not on our natural level, but in a spiritual and supernatural way. It's impacting all of us. Every single one of us are accustomed to the dissonance that involves our cognition and the way that we process complex emotions. And before you know it, Western civilization will crumble because you're taking away the moral foundation of our civilization. And this is not just a natural thing that's occurring. This is occurring in the metaphysical realm, in a realm that cannot exist outside of presuppositional beliefs. You have to throw all of your presuppositional beliefs out. You need to form new axioms. You need to deliver. You need to excuse me. You need to come to your moral position by observing your axiomatic principles. And we need to... All right, there you go. All right. I don't know. That's the best I can do, okay? A lot of big words where you're not actually saying anything. I just thought, who better to give us the breaking news about Jordan Peterson getting run off the internet for calling somebody ugly from TheQuarerting. Keep in mind, I have not actually watched this video yet, so I have no idea what we're about to get into. But TheQuarerting dropped a video on this.
What's going on, everyone?
I'm sure that it's going to be incredibly insightful, super big brain, and maybe, just maybe, even smarter than the previous video that this dude has made in the past. Keep in mind, again, that every time TheQuarerting talks, I actually have to make sure I'm looking at the screen because I cannot tell the difference between a chimpanzee throwing its shit and an actual human being chatting to me. Take it away.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from TheQuarerting. A bit of news out of Jordan B. Peterson. Got himself in a bit of hot water from a comment on Twitter about a plus-sized swimsuit model. So much so that he was essentially run off Twitter, taking a 3-week break, cracking under the immense backlash. I don't think that this makes him any less of a person or a man or whatever. I think we all know that Jordan is, how do I say, he's been worn down by years of just a constant deluge of hate and vitriol coming his way.
So you might be right. A lot of people get a deluge of hate. I would consider myself somebody who gets a pretty large deluge of hate. Obviously not on the same level as a politician or as Jordan Peterson. However, why are you receiving the deluge of hate? For me, when I get a lot of hate, I go about assessing that in 2 ways. One, I think, are these people just stupid and coping? Or am I maybe wrong? Maybe there's a reason why everybody's mad at me here about this. There have been times where I've gotten a large amount of hate for certain tweets I've made, and then I decide to delete the tweet. Because I'm like, you know what? This was more or less supposed to be like kind of an edgy joke. I don't really feel like dealing with a bunch of hate or getting people mad at me over this. Seems kind of dumb. But why is Peterson getting a deluge of hate? Let's see. Let me think about that one. He completely and totally lied and misrepresented Bill C-16. He made it sound as if Bill C-16 was going to make it so that if you even misgender somebody, not just in the natural realm, but also in a metaphysical and mental way, then you will be permanently locked into prison and tortured, and your penis will be chopped off by a rusty axe. And then what happened? Nothing. Bill C-16 just added gender identity to the protected class. Like, that's it. So he lied about that one. Deluge of hate. Why? Because you're a fucking liar. Stop lying, dipshit. 2, he's getting a deluge of hate now because he claimed it's authoritarian to find a plus-size model cute. Authoritarian tolerance? I don't know. It's really quite strange. He's probably just worn down from taking so many L's.
His force fields have been depleted, so to speak. And it even happens to me. Like there was a time in my life when I was like, I'm never blocking anyone on Twitter. I'm not going to do that. I just can't. And then like after 10 years of seeing the same crap, I started just being like, look, I'm just going to block this dude. Like, I don't even care.
Yeah, you know what? Same here, actually. I hate that I'm agreeing with the quarter pounder here, but I'm the same way. People are like, why did you block me? I'm like, you said something stupid in my chat. If you say something dumb in like my comment section, especially if it's like snarky and dumb, then I'll just block. I mass block now. And I don't even give a shit. You can always join my Discord and talk to me. You're not banned from there. You can always call the show via the phone number that flashes on screen. But I will literally scroll through my Instagram comments and just select all the comments that I think are stupid or dumb or posted by people that honestly are not mentally well enough to even be on the internet. And then I'll just mass block them. I don't care anymore. It's true.
You could call me soft for that, and maybe you're right, but it's just like the only way I can deal with it, because it's just like the same idiot posting the same bad faith. Like, I don't block people who make fun of me. I don't block people who like I block people who like clout chase and who are disingenuous.
Oh right, yeah. You would never want anybody to be disingenuous or lie about you, right? right, Jeremy? After all, you've never done that about calling Vosh a pedophile or anything, right? Oh, wait, no, that just happened yesterday. You demented little bitch.
Bad faith. But like, it's rare, but I do it now. As before, I used to say, like, I never block anybody. I don't do that. That's for wimps. Maybe it is. I've been worn down myself a little bit. Now, the media is celebrating, essentially, him getting bullied off the internet. Now, what he said, I think, is a little out there. Look, here's what he tweeted. Sorry, not beautiful. No amount of authoritarian tolerance is going to change that. Essentially, what he's saying is, there's this whole, like, fat shaming, fat positivity. Look, and I can talk about it. As a fat, I can talk about it, all right? There's nothing healthy about being overweight. I don't care. Somewhere along the lines, we went from, hey, maybe don't disparage somebody because they're overweight, to this being 100 and 200 pounds overweight is totally normal and healthy.
So, the same talking points of anti-fat acceptance shit that I used to say in 2002? Get some new arguments, pal. Here is what's actually going on, okay? There is a push to make it more normalized to have people of all different body sizes. Now, it's true that there are some people who try to claim that they're healthy when they're obviously overweight and probably should lose some pounds. That's true. But at the same time, there is massive bias in our society against fat people. And this isn't even like my opinion. You can look at studies. Fat people are less likely to receive jobs. They're less likely to be treated as kindly as people who are thin. There does exist an anti-fat bias. Now, thankfully, that bias can be changed because you can lose weight. But also, I think that being biased towards somebody for the size of their body is pretty cruel and unfair. And if you're overweight, you shouldn't be condemned for being overweight. Now, the woman in question here is not overweight. She's thick with 2 C's, okay? She's a thickie. And there's a lot of people that like thick chicks. Again, I think she's pretty. I do see how she does seem to be larger than you would expect for a model, but I don't really care. I think that she's overall a pretty girl, and people have different standards when it comes to body types and who they like. But to then take this argument away from that and stumble into this, well, there are people that say being 4,000 pounds is actually okay, blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up, take a step back, and try to be realistic about this. Now, again, we're dealing with the quartering, so we're not going to get any type of nuance whatsoever. But the truth of the matter is, body positivity and body acceptance is not actually the same as just be content with being overweight and unhealthy. The strange, nearly ironic paradox here is that you need to first have body positivity and accept yourself and love yourself before you can really get motivated to improve yourself. So I agree that if somebody is overweight, they shouldn't be out there on the street corner preaching next to Ray Comfort about how being fat is actually super okay and they're totally healthy even though they're suffering from stage 3 diabetes or whatever the fuck. Obviously. But if we're going to talk about body positivity, accepting yourself is actually the first step in then working towards improving yourself. So it's a little bit paradoxical. I understand that, because accepting yourself is not the same thing as being okay with you being overweight. But you have to have a level of love for yourself if you're willing to change yourself. So having this more normalization of people that are a little overweight or a little bit more thick is totally fine. This girl is not like overweight. She's thick. I assume she's healthy. And if you are thick, quote unquote, or a little chubby, quote unquote, but you're healthy, who cares? Who gives a shit?
As a society, like, we can't ever do anything the appropriate amount. We always have to take it to the extreme. And every time I say to the extreme, I'm like, I rock the mic like a vandal. Anyway. So no, this woman, are they trying to make a statement like, oh, it's being overweight is beautiful, blah, 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 blah? Probably. And that's the point that Jordan was making. But like,
is she overweight? I would not look at this girl and consider her overweight.
Again, we know what Sports Illustrated is doing. Sports Illustrated isn't exactly, you know, nobody's buying it anyway, so this is the only way people will talk about it. You see a lot of people talk about, like, I can't figure out why these sales numbers on this issue consistently have dipped. And you have all these, like, people who are overweight.
Yes, because that's exactly how she looks. What? Yes, the Sports Illustrated sales have dipped because thick woman on front cover. Dude, these people are actually insane.
Coming in here and acting like, you know, both sides are dumb. Like, look, I don't know. If she got paid to be on that cover, good for her. Just because she's overweight doesn't make her a bad person, obviously. Making fun of her for being overweight isn't cool either. You know, you open yourself up to that when you're standing, you know, you're getting paid to be on the cover of a swimsuit magazine. But also, like, you know, the only problem that I have with it, you know, like calling someone fat who is fat is like a you know, juvenile thing to do. But if they're like out there saying it's healthy to be fat, it's healthy to be overweight, blah, blah, this kind of stuff, that is the dangerous stuff. And
no, that's not the argument. The argument is not that it's healthy to be fat. The argument is that it is possible to be overweight and be healthy. That's the argument. Just like, by the way, it's unhealthy if you're super fucking skinny. You realize this, right? Being really thin is actually more risky to your health than being overweight. Okay.
There's a fine line of, like, worshiping it a little bit and pretending that it's totally okay to be overweight.
Oh, is he going to read the Nazi one?
It's your choice, and, you know, some people have medical reasons for being, again, just like the abortion argument. Yes, a tiny percent of people have a glandular problem, and that's why they're overweight. But 97% of people are overweight because, like me, they eat too much and they don't exercise enough. You know.
Yeah, but there's also issues with that as well, right? Like the way that food right now operates, as far as fast food is way cheaper. It's easier to get unhealthy food than it is to purchase healthy food. There's a lot of underlying issues there. I don't think that's an excuse. I do think that if you are overweight, you should try to lose weight, especially obviously if you're overweight and it's unhealthy. But I really disagree with some of these comments. I mean, listen, look at this shit. The ground is shaking where she walks. Holy crap, dude. Funny that this guy doesn't even have a fucking profile picture either. How much you want to bet that he's like a super nasty loser incel living in his mom's basement surrounded by empty Monster Energy cans? Like, you'd think that somebody who's like a little bit on the chunky side, who's a little bit like thick, would be more or less accepted. But instead you have these dipshits that are like, she's like an elephant, bruh. I'm still in middle school.
So let's just be real about that. Everyone, you know, fighting in the comments here. You know, this woman is gorgeous, unless you're her doctor and have valid medical reason to do so. No commenting on her weight. I mean, again, you're on the cover of a Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition, all right? By the way, I don't think the swimsuit fits her very well.
Interesting that he's taking this approach now. So, I mean, Jordan Peterson's on Twitter, right? I mean, he's kind of inviting the criticism, right? Right, Jeremy? Like, you can't get mad, right? Jordan Peterson's on Twitter. What's the problem? I mean, what can you expect, right? Interesting how he's all fucking sympathetic towards Peterson and the deluge of hate. But then when this woman's getting a deluge of hate by dipshit incels who've never even been like within a mile of a woman and are probably not allowed within several miles of the nearby middle school, suddenly he's like, well, I mean, you're on the front cover. You are on the front cover. That you've invited the criticism. Okay. Well, maybe Jordan Peterson dropping repeatedly autistically stupid takes also deserves it. You know?
No commenting
What
on
are
her weight.
people? What? So I missed a comment.
Again,
apparently?
you're on the cover of a Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. All right. By the way, I don't think the swimsuit fits her very well. Just I don't know. It doesn't look good on her. But like, she's probably a nice person or whatever. But what I find is
she probably is a nice person, guys. Dude, come on.
Hilarious is essentially what Jordan Peterson did in the eyes of the media is wrong, right? Bullying her, fat shaming her, this and that and the other thing. But then he gets bullied for it, right? Hassan like brutally ratioed him. I think he replied with a picture of Jordan that got 120,000 likes, and then celebrated, you know, saying, no way is this true. You say he responds to him, he ratios him, and then he says Jordan Peterson announces he's departing from Twitter, and then people like Mudahar. I like Mudahar, it's fine. You know, I like him, but you know, Ethan Klein, of course, we know how he has like this deep-seated happiness. All these people are celebrating that he's been bullied off the internet, essentially.
Are you
now? Do I think dude can just mute the thread and move on with his life? Yeah, he should have. I just don't think he has the same fortitude that he used to, and I don't think it's reasonable to expect that he would.
Wait, so you're complaining that he got bullied, quote unquote. A ratio, by the way, is not bullying people. I don't know how terminally online you are, but you're mad that the bully was bullied in return or in response? What? It would depend on what actually caused him to leave Twitter. If somebody unironically bullied the dude and was, I don't know what would classify as like bullying Jordan Peterson, but I mean, he started it by bullying her, calling her fat, saying she's not beautiful, and saying it's authoritarian to think she's pretty or something. What are you talking about, Jordan? If you're bullying somebody, then people are going to fucking retaliate. Yeah. Sorry, Jeremy QUartering. You can't simp and whine for Peterson, for poor Jordan PP, while simultaneously saying like, oh, it's just you've invited the criticism.
Same fortitude that he used to, and I don't think it's reasonable to expect that he would. I do think it's pretty pathetic that all these people are celebrating the very same people who are outraged that he...
This isn't even a bad... These don't look... Corporate needs you to find the difference between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture. I mean, come on. This is like memeing on people, bro. Base department? Really? Saying it's base for him to quit Twitter? This is not bullying. I think you're bullying if you step into territory of like, you should kill yourself, go back on drugs, I hate your wife, your family sucks. Stuff like that I think would probably be classified. But what? How much you want to bet that if a feminist dropped a take and then she decided to leave and then a bunch of people said this stuff, he would be scrolling through laughing at it. Ha, what a snowflake. LOL. Haha, she had to leave Twitter. Because of some mean comments? And now you're scrolling through people memeing on the guy, whining that it's actually bullying him? Why are you being such a snowflake, QUartering? Seems really strange that you shit all over the snowflakes, but yet you actually are a snowflake when push comes to shove.
People are celebrating. The very same people who are outraged that he, quote unquote, bullied this woman are happy to bully him because the left has absolutely no morals. Here you see the Daily Beast, anti-snowflake, Jordan Peterson quits Twitter because he can't hack insults. Or you have The Guardian writing.
This isn't bullying. It's ironic. It's pointing out the irony. It's this... Okay.
Thin-skinned Jordan Peterson is wrong about everything but right about Twitter. I mean, again, like I don't even like post my videos on Twitter anymore. I use it just to basically garbage post. Like I just don't care about it anymore. Because people on there are so toxic. And like, toxic. I'm going on 40. I produce 6-7 videos a day. I just can't take in any more toxicity.
So toxic, man. Thankfully, we have good old QUartering here who's never toxic.
Twitter's like a young man's game, or somebody who's like a glutton for punishment. And you see this people that are celebrating it is just sick. Canadian psychologist turned anti-snowflake crusader Jordan Peterson has apparently quit on Twitter because he can't hack the consequences of his own garbage posting on a public platform. Again, the irony is that...
Why is this... This is true. This is ironic. This is not bullying. That's sick to you, QUartering? What a snowflake.
Here coming from the Daily Beast, who would just as happily champion someone and say that it wasn't fair that everyone was dogpiling them if they agreed with their politics, I don't know. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I think this was just a miss for him. If he, the endless flood of vicious insults really isn't something that can be experienced anywhere else. And he lamented that Twitter's insensitive structure makes it intrinsically and dangerously insane. As he continued, I told my staff to change my password to keep me from temptation, and I'm departing once again. Peterson later concluded his farewell. I plan to write an article on the technical reasons that Twitter is maddening us all very soon. Bye for now. Okay, bye. I mean, look, if Jordan Peterson needs to take some time off Twitter, I 100% understand it. I can't imagine what it's like to be, somebody who is just dealing with this garbage all the time. Although somebody's clearly tweeting. My YouTube channel's hit 5 million subscribers. Thank you all for your ongoing support. Oh, did he delete? Oh, no, here it is. Okay, so here's his thread. Yeah, I mean, it's good for him. I mean, I think that YouTube is far less toxic, honestly, than most places.
I mean, if you're a public figure, this was your argument a second ago, Jeremy. If you're a public figure, you've opened the door for criticism. People are going to hate on you. Why couldn't you just, log off Twitter for a little bit?
the endless flood of vicious insults is really not something that can be experienced anywhere else. I don't know, video games. I like to follow the people I know, but I think the incentive structure of the platform makes it intrinsically and dangerously insane. And you see Mike Cernovich getting it. You can limit your reply to people who only follow you. Are you really unable to auto-regulate your own Twitter experience? He's like mad. Cernovich, like sometimes he has good takes and other times he has garbage takes. Malice is in here. I mean, I think he invites this kind of criticism, and since he's such a big figure, he gets it at a level that most of us would never have to, who could never understand. I do think it's
just
funny.
Like, he's not. His videos are so boring. He's like talking out of two sides of his mouth. She's a model. She's invited it. Now it's sick that Jordan Peterson's getting dogpiled, but he's also a celebrity, so he's kind of opened the door to that. Make up your mind, dude. Pick a position and stick to it. Or is that impossible?
Even though he is, this, anti-snowflake guy, I don't think it makes it okay to then cheer on people cyberbullying him if it's in your words a real thing, right? It's the hypocrisy of it.
No, he's not getting cyberbullied. Memeing on somebody for being anti-snowflake, then acting like a fragile little snowflake when push comes to shove is not cyberbullying. Look up definitions of words, Quartering. All right, if you want, I'll cyberbully you, bitch. I'll show you what cyberbullying is like.
Had a lukewarm take that the internet jumped on and decided, hey.
Wait, that was a lukewarm take for you? Got it. So the funny memes joking about him is sick, but calling a woman ugly and fat and saying you're authoritarian if you find her attractive, well, that's just a lukewarm take. How are you so stupid?
We're going to pick this thing and obsess about it all day, and he just couldn't take it. But there are a lot of things going on in Jordan's life that has made him less able to deal with this kind of stuff. So if his point was, again, you can see it's a conscious progressive attempt to manipulate and retool the notion of beauty.
Keep in mind also we're watching this on 1.5 speed, and he's still this slow and boring.
On the idiot philosophy that such preferences are learned and properly changed by those who know better. But let's not let the facts stop you. What he's saying is true to a degree, but I mean, I don't know. Somebody probably thinks this woman's beautiful. I only have a problem when you start to pretend like it's healthy or that it's something that should be normalized, because it's not good for people. It's not good.
How do you know that? The woman on that cover was completely healthy.
For people to willingly go into living an unhealthy lifestyle and pretend like nothing's wrong with it. But hopefully Jordan will take some time off. Hope he cleanses his palate. I'd love to have him on the show. I've asked him numerous times, but I don't really have any.
Oh, I got it. So you're simping for him because you want him to be on your show. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I do agree, though. You shouldn't partake in unhealthy lifestyle choices. So if you are currently a subscriber of The Quartering, stop immediately. Unsubscribe. Block his channel from recommendations if you can. And just, try to stay away from that. Purge the unhealthy bullshit from your life. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you get notified when I drop a new video.